Yeah, you viewers and viewresses, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to Surrey Being Hunted episode 609, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? God, we're already approaching 610. It feels like, episode 600 was only a couple of minutes ago, as when me and Phil and Connor sat down and did that little recording session right there, and already we're getting into the friggin', the tens for this next series of Surrey Being Hunted videos and all that in the 600 to 700 range, which is incredible, really, isn't it? Time kind of flies when you're having fun and whatever else have you. So, back here actually on the same map from the last episode that me and Phil were playing on, just for our podcast style episode where we were talking about car buying and all that. Wanted to do another podcast style episode actually, just on my own, to talk about something interesting that I had the opportunity to do recently. So, it's the 7th of November, just to date the video, as of when I record this. And on the 4th of November, I had a great opportunity to go and do something very, very interesting. And I did. It was very, very good. So I've talked, obviously, in the past about how I am the sort of person who loves all things nautical and maritime, Have I ever talked, though, about historic ships that I've ever been on? I probably have. I think I've mentioned before that, in the past I've been to Portsmouth here in the UK, where we have a couple of historical ships and you can go on board them. They're basically big tourist attractions now. So HMS Victory, Nelson's flagship at the Battle of Trafalgar, been on there, and HMS Warrior, a big sort of steam-propelled warship that was launched in 1860. So I've been obviously on board those two ships before, and I think I've talked before about how, it's my intention in life to go and visit other ships as well, other historical vessels. So there's plenty here in the UK, that I could obviously go and visit. So like HMS Belfast in London is always an option. I think it's the Cutty Sark, isn't it, in Bristol? Another good one that you can actually go touring on board. And you never know. When I next find myself going abroad, I may well see if I can go somewhere where there's a bit of naval or maritime history. See if I can find any historical ships further afield I could go on. And actually, other ships, another ship actually that I probably have mentioned before I forget, the Aurora in St. Petersburg back in 2008. Stepped foot on that one as well. Sorry, was it the Aurora? Yeah, it was the Aurora, wasn't it? Yes, it was the one that fired the first shots of the was it the October Revolution? I forget. It's been a while since I last talked about it. So yeah, I've been on that one too. So technically that's like 3 historical ships that I've been on. So Victory, Warrior, Aurora. So 2 British and a Russian one. But I had on the opportunity. Let me try that again. On the 4th of November, I had the opportunity to step foot on another ship. Not well, technically, yeah, you could say it's a historical one in a sense. Not because it's like a really old ship, but actually because it's a new ship, but which does have historical significance. Now, of course, I've talked again before in the past about my real-life job, my profession as an academic in the field of international security. And, being an academic for a university department always comes with its perks. Namely, you get a lot of opportunities in terms of travelling around, whether that's going to things like big events or conferences. And so, an opportunity came up in our department fairly recently on one of the courses to basically go down to Portsmouth and attend a special reception on board the ROKS Hansando, which, for anyone who doesn't know, the ROKS Hansando is a ship of the Republic of Korea Navy, i.e. the South Korean Navy, and it basically, if you don't know what it is a helicopter training ship that has just recently been commissioned into the South Korean Navy. It's the first of its kind for that Navy, because I don't think they've ever had a training ship of its kind like that before. And it was part of what's called the Cruise Training Task Group, that is currently in the process of doing something like 140 plus day voyage around the world, doing port visits, basically diplomatic visits essentially. So it's part, like I say, it's part of this task group, the cruise training task group, that is made up of the Hansando and also another ship, the ROKS Hwacheon, I believe it's called, which is basically a naval replenishment and supply ship. And so these two ships have been sailing around the world so far, and on the 4th of November, they put into Portsmouth here in the UK. And there was a reception on board them from 6 till 8 o'clock in the evening, where they invited essentially all kinds of people, actually. So they invited academics from our university department, because our department is involved in a lot of professional military education. They also invited Korean War veterans, because of course 2023, this year, is the 70th anniversary of the armistice that ended the Korean War. Obviously, because 1953 was when the Korean War ended. And obviously 2023, 70 years on down the line from then. So there were British Korean War veterans there, as well as, members of their families, etc. There were obviously Korean naval and military officers and their families. We had the South Korean ambassador, who gave a speech, as well as obviously the commander of the cruise training task group itself, who gave a speech as well. It was a really, really eventful and fascinating evening. So, yeah, I can add that to the list of ships that I've now stepped foot on board. And like I say, technically I count it as a historically significant vessel, because even though obviously it's a newer ship, it's only been commissioned into the South Korean Navy recently. Like I said, it's historically significant because it is a helicopter training ship, and it is the first ship of its kind in the South Korean Navy. So it is quite historically significant in that regard. But yeah, it was really, really good. Really good, eventful evening. And, even though it was only a couple of hours, we basically, myself and several colleagues, we drove down to Portsmouth, and we got to hang out at this reception. And they put on a whole sort of like buffet in the helicopter hangar on board the ship of just Korean food. So there was plenty to eat, plenty to drink, and plenty of entertainment as well, which was even better. So we had like a display from the ship's taekwondo team doing their little taekwondo routine. Then we had like Korean drummers beating out a real rapid, quite loud tune actually, made your ears ring and all that. And then we had one of the South Korean sailors singing opera, which was really good. And then the entertainment concluded with the same South Korean Navy personnel basically playing "We Are the Champions" by Queen. Really, really good. It was just such an enjoyable evening. But like I say, it was really significant because, we had Korean War veterans there. So like on the table where me and my colleagues were sat, we had a Korean War vet who was 96 years old. And he was just there, and like other vets as well, who, again, are getting really old now. But you could, a couple of them were Chelsea pensioners. You recognise them in their big red jackets. If anyone doesn't know, the Chelsea pensioners here in the UK are military veterans who, in exchange for, I think it's like giving up their military pensions, they instead get to live out the rest of their days at what is essentially a hospital for pensioners in Chelsea, which is for military veterans. And it basically is, all their needs that they could ever desire are basically met there. So yeah, there were a couple of Chelsea pensioners. It was really, it was so good. It was just really, really good. A few Royal Navy officers as well, who were invited to the reception. Navy to Navy, social events and diplomacy and all that. But God, yeah, it's one of the perks basically of my job, getting these invitations to go to these kind of events and things like that. And you meet such fascinating people from all walks of life all over the world. It is one of the big things that I love about academia, because academia is such a diverse career field. Like I say, you meet so many people of different ages, different backgrounds, who have different professional experiences, and you learn some fascinating things from them. Whether that's going to a social event, whether that's going to a professional conference, anything like that. But yeah, going down to Portsmouth was it was great. It was fantastic. It was brilliant. It was absolutely enjoyable. What I may see if I can do, if I remember, is if I go on, I think it's Navy Lookout on Twitter, I'm pretty sure they have a video uploaded of the Hansando and possibly the Huachon as well, as they came into port on the 4th of November. So if you want actually to see what these ships look like, either you can go and search for that yourself on Google, or I might see if I can just get a few quick seconds of each one pulling in and just insert them into the video right about here. Only brief, obviously. I'm not going to play the full videos, maybe just a few seconds of each clip, just so you can have a quick look at them, basically, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, it was just good. It was great. Because the thing is, in case anyone's wondering, my department, like I say, we do a lot of, my university department where I work, we do a lot of professional military education, and one of our courses often gets a lot of international officers coming through it, and like international officers from all over the world. So, for example, you get a lot of American officers, British officers, Australian, officers from various European countries like France, Germany, the Netherlands, Ukraine, Poland, Italy, Greece, all over, Spain, and of course you get officers from like Middle Eastern countries, so like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, the UAE, and then you get obviously plenty of officers from African countries, from Southeast Asia, and East Asia as well, so namely usually South Korea and Japan. You get a lot of people, and even sometimes some officers coming over from Latin America as well, from countries like Argentina and Colombia. And so, yeah, that's why often we get a lot of these opportunities, because obviously a lot of these international officers, they know of things like social and diplomatic events that are going on in the UK or further afield, and so, as academics involved in professional military education, sometimes we do get invitations to these things because of the basically the services that we do for these different partner militaries and all that. So yeah, everybody's job usually comes with interesting perks, whether that's things like what I've just outlined there, or whether that's more sort of mundane things. Oh god, suddenly I'm getting gas coming to my throat from my tea. Don't know why that is. But yes, I'm still waiting though on a few of my colleagues just to share some pictures from the evening. But I'll just see when they send them, give them a friendly nudge later down the line if they've forgotten or anything like that. Because we did take a few pictures while we were on the deck of the Hansando. Because the thing is, the way the crew of the ship had set it up, they basically set up a set of awnings across the helicopter landing pad at the back of the ship, the stern, and then, like I say, they'd opened up the helicopter hangar itself and put the buffet on in there, the Korean food spread. Yeah, Korean cuisine is a national cuisine that I've not often eaten before, but actually it is quite nice. I really do like it. It's got a bit of spice to it without being too overbearing for me. You get your noodles and your rice, and then like your sort of things like sort of kimchi pancakes, various meats, various sort of like nice tangy sauces. Delicious, really, really good. So yeah, I definitely have to explore a bit more Korean cuisine later down the line. Find out what I like and all that. Because the thing is, like here in the UK, we have a lot of things like, Chinese cuisine. And we have a few sort of like sushi restaurants, things like that, Japanese. Korean is one of those things that, well, there's a bit of it here in the UK with companies like Wagamama, things like that. Restaurant chains that do various Korean stuff. But I do wonder, is it something that's as well, I don't know, well known as, say, like Chinese or Japanese cuisine? I'm not entirely sure. Well, yeah. South Korea as a country, though, incidentally, is a country, it's a place that I definitely want to go to at some point in my life. Certainly what I want to do if I ever go to, well, not if, when, I should say, whenever I go to South Korea, is, I think it's in Seoul, there's a museum where they have exhibits about Korea's naval history and about things like Yi Sun-sin, the great Korean admiral of the 16th century. The one who designed the Kobukson, the turtle ship, which was used to deadly effect to repel Japanese invasions in the 16th century. So yeah, that's a place I definitely want to go to when I go to Korea. And probably also you'd want to take a tour up to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, sort of like the border between North and South Korea. So you definitely want to go there. And then there's probably all sorts of like temples and cultural sites in South Korea that would be really interesting to visit. Because, you know, the thing is, like, when I think of tourism in East Asia, where I'd want to go, I always think, obviously, you know, Japan obviously is a significant destination that I'd want to go to because it has so much culture there, and I'd love to. And I know people are going to make fun of me for that. They're going to be like, "Oh, you want to go to Akiba, don't you, Red? You freaking anime nerd." Which, yes, I will admit, is a destination that I'd want to go to just to see it. But I'm not a total weeb, okay? I would want to also go and indulge in the actual local culture as well. Go to some historically significant sites. Maybe some, like, castles like Himeji, for instance. Or maybe, you know, historic Buddhist temples and see them, etc., etc. I'd want to see that too. And same with South Korea, I'd want to see some historically significant sites, things like that. It does also make me think that at some point in my life I should probably also go to China as well, maybe to like Hong Kong. Because the thing is, I think I've talked before, haven't I, about how I had my 3rd birthday, technically, in Hong Kong when I was a kid, and this was freaking years ago, back before the handover, when Hong Kong was still technically a British overseas territory. So I'd want to go back to Hong Kong and see some of the sites around there, maybe go to other historical locations in China more widely, perhaps. I think that would certainly be interesting. So yeah. But yes, essentially this visit to the Hansando got me really thinking about South Korea, and essentially how I would love to actually go there and actually, you know, sample the local culture, indulge in it, see some Korean historical sites, etc., etc. Alright, so I think that'll probably do for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, since that was really the one thing I wanted to do a podcast-style episode on, and I think we've done a decent amount of time there. I just need to find a save point, which actually, come to think of it, shouldn't really matter, because I think I just say that standing stones, I could probably just save back there as well, couldn't I? Well, never mind. Okay, in that case, Facebook links down below, ladies and gentlemen, along with another link to my propagandist channel, if you're interested in that. I haven't really been updating that too frequently, or at least not as frequently as I'd like to. So, but I try and update it every so often, every once in a while and all that. So go and check that out. I've been trying to sort of get out reactions to murder drones on there at the moment, among other things. So it's worth a look if you're interested in seeing me actually doing face cam videos and all that. But yeah, other than that, leave a like of this video if you want to, if you enjoyed it and all that. It's always appreciated and all that. And other than that, this is General Red, now signing off. Goodbye, everybody. Wow. So we essentially have nearly every type of weapon already. So we have to deal with this bloody Panzer Trooper. Oh god. Careful, he does it. Oh, he's dead. That's good. There's another guy. Is he coming? Yeah, he is, I think. Or is he? Or is he going to mess around? He's going to fucking mess around, isn't he? Like the little bitch. Oh no, here he comes. There we go, he's down. Oh no! Save. There we go. Oh, what the? Oh shit. This better not be a... Wah! Shit! No! Oh my fucking god! How many... What? Holy shit!